Welcome to the Teachers on Fire podcast, where 21st century educators come to share, learn, and be inspired. We believe in the growth mindset, creativity, communication, critical thinking, collaboration, and strategic uses of education technology. Our mission is to share news and views from teachers who are crushing it in the classroom and making a difference for learners everywhere. I'm your host, Tim Cavey. Let's jump into today's episode. Today, I'm speaking with Colby Sharp. Colby is a husband, dad, teacher, reader, runner, writer, author, and self-proclaimed nerd. Colby, thanks so much for coming on the show today. Are you ready to talk education?
Yeah, I was born ready.
Why don't you start by telling us about your current teaching or education situation?
I teach at a small school in Parma, Michigan. It's a kindergarten through fifth grade school. It is the elementary that I attended as a child. I can actually see my parents' house from the school. So I grew up there, and I taught in a different city in Michigan for 6 years, and this is my fifth or sixth year at Parma. I teach fifth grade.
Okay, fun. We're going to start, Colby, by talking about a low moment that you faced in your teaching or education career. So take us through that experience of adversity and how you overcame it.
Yeah, I never talked about this. My first year of teaching, I thought went really well. And I remember sitting down with my principal, Laura Williams, at the end of that year for like my end of the year evaluation. And she didn't think it went very well. And she had a lot of things that I needed to work on. And she basically was like, we'll try it again next year, but things need to get better. And that was really, really hard to hear. I didn't feel like I agreed with her 100%, but I also knew that she knew more than I did, and that this was not. I could take it one of two ways. Like I could pout and I could get frustrated and I could like throw myself a pity party, which I probably did for a couple of days with my wife, or I could use it to grow and learn and make myself become the best teacher possible. So that's what I did. And, within a few years there, I was in a leadership role in the school and I had learned so much and grown so much. And I think it had a lot to do with how I handled, I guess, what could have been seen as a negative situation.
Right. I've got my head so much in all of the growth mindset stuff from Carol Dweck. And, we have all of these great cliches and lines that we like to use. And I still find when it comes to critique, it's so hard not to take the critique personally, and it sounds like you sort of had your wrestling match with that. And then finally just said, you know what, I'm going to embrace what I can and sort of take what I can from this and improve it. And you did. And the rest is history. So very, very cool. Colby, in March, you published The Creativity Project, an Awesometastic Story Collection. And you brought together, I think, 40 authors and illustrators to provide story starters for each other. And they all received their prompts and then responded by transforming those prompts into any form of creative work they wanted to share. What an interesting project. Tell us about your vision for it and the process of putting it together and just your sense of the final results.
Sure. Well, I wanted kids to see that creativity could be anything. Like so often we tell kids what to create, and like I don't really know that is helping them become more creative, but I wanted kids to see, when you're creating something you could write, you could create a poem, you could draw a picture, you could make a comic, you could take a photograph, you could make a video. And I wanted kids to see some of their favorite authors and illustrators do that. I wanted them to see where they get ideas and how their ideas could be totally different from what we would expect. And hopefully it was accomplished. Like Dave Pilkey, for example, the author of Captain Underpants and Dog Man, is known for his work with pictures and words to tell a story. He's known for his comics. And he wrote like this thriller piece with no pictures. And I was just so surprised and excited to see something so different from Dave and to see him take some chances and try something new. And I think that another person wrote a letter to their fifth grade teacher. Another person drew just pictures. And I think that it was really cool to see that come up. And it's been really fun to use it with kids and to see how other teachers are using it with kids and to see kids making all sorts of different things.
Hmm.
In terms of the process, it was way harder than I thought. So it started with every creator had to send me 2 prompts, and so they emailed them to me, and then we collected all of these prompts, and then we had to take those 2 prompts and send them to someone else
Right.
that was part of the book. And
Cool.
we had to make sure that nobody like traded, but like all prompts were going all over the place. And so we decided who was getting which prompt, and then the wonderful people at my publisher, Little Brown, actually mailed the prompts. We didn't email them, we mailed them like a package
Wow.
with prompts and with like a creativity hat and confetti. And they got it in the mail with a letter from me. And basically it said, here are 2 prompts, pick one, and you get 1 to 5 pages in the book to do whatever you want. And that's what they did.
That is so neat. Now, is this a tool? It sounds like it is a tool that you use in your fifth grade classroom.
Yeah, we use it a lot of times during like some notebook writing time or for quick writes or just when kids are stuck to like a lot of times I'll put up a prompt. Like last week, we used one of Dan Santat's prompts. It was a picture that he drew. And I said, if you want to respond to this, awesome. If there's something else you want to write about, awesome. If you want to continue something, awesome. And I don't know, probably about a third of the class took that prompt and went with it. But just always want to give kids choice. That was the big reason why we had creators send 2 prompts, because we wanted to give our creators, if we want our kids to have choice, then I also wanted our creators to have choice as well.
Another thing I like there and that I'm hearing is that you're sort of getting well outside of the boxes that historically as English teachers we tend to put around our writers, whether it's the 5 paragraph essay or the fine details of indentation or whatever it might be. It sounds like, without looking at it myself, it's a pretty free-flowing, freestyle artifact that kids can look through in a lot of different styles. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's all kinds of different things. And it's been fun to see different classrooms and different groups of kids take it and like create their own book. A class in Battle Creek actually created prompts and then traded them with each other, and they picked one and made their own book. A bunch of the classrooms at my school did something similar, and it's just been really fun to see kids making things, making what they want to make, and hopefully it'll springboard into some continuing to push their brains to make things that they never thought possible.
Before we move on, Colby, I'm going to ask one more question because I am teaching eighth grade English myself this year. So is this something that would work in my eighth grade classroom, do you think?
Oh yeah, I've seen it all the way up through high school. I've seen middle school music teachers use it. Art teachers are using it. One school is like everyone in the school is using it, from the gym teacher. I don't even know how in the world they're using it. But yeah,
Yeah.
like if you want your kids to be making things and then to see the different possibilities when it comes to creation, then I think this book is for them.
Colby, what is it that excites you about education today?
Yeah, I think it's the teachers. I think from what I see, getting an opportunity to meet so many teachers at my school and online and at conferences, and to just be around teachers all over the world, they're just so passionate about the kids and so passionate about the learning. And it feels like everyone's in it for the right reasons. I think sometimes teachers get a bad rap, or sometimes people that aren't in it don't see the work that's being put in. But I have so much hope for our future as a country and as a world, because kids are getting amazing teachers each year, teachers that want so desperately to serve their kids. And like I think like I don't know, at least in Michigan there was a while there where we had no jobs at all. There were no jobs, and I think that made a lot of people really think like, do I really want to go into teaching? And so now we don't have as many applicants for jobs, but man, the people that are coming out of college, they are just phenomenal. Like they're in it for the right reasons and they want to change the world. And I think that's really good for kids.
Absolutely. Hear, hear. Outside of education, Colby, we call ourselves lifelong learners, and I really love this idea. So let's unpack that a little bit for you. What's another area of passion and learning for you outside of the classroom?
So I have a second book coming out, a teacher book that I guess I call it a teacher book. It's a professional book that I co-wrote with the book whisperer Donald Miller, and it's called Game Changer: Book Access for All Kids. And for me, it's that passion of getting books into the hands of kids. Like, we need kids to be surrounded by books in their classrooms, in their libraries, in their homes, in their communities. And if we want our kids to be readers, they need to be surrounded with books. One thing that we do in our little town of Parma is we run a conference each year called Nerd Camp, which we started, I think, 6 years ago. And this year we had, I don't know, 1,500 educators from almost 40 states and 1,000 kids and 50 authors. And it was completely free for everyone. Each kid that came got a chance to meet 3 authors. They all left with at least one, most of them two, free books signed by one of the authors they met. And just being able to get books into kids' hands, being able to get books into the hands of classroom teachers, and finding ways to get more books in libraries and even more librarians in schools, I think is so important. Kids need that if we want them to be readers.
Colby, share about a personal habit that contributes to your success. How do you do it all? How do you keep teaching and write more books and do everything that you're doing?
I try to exercise every single day. It's, I don't know, September now, and I probably missed 7 to 9 days this year total.
Wow.
And it doesn't have to be huge. It can be a half hour. It could be 45 minutes. But I try to do something every single day, even if it means like I have a 45-minute lunch and recess. It's also part of our planning. I could like throw on running shorts and go run 3 miles in 25 minutes and be back to class and just eat my lunch like while I'm teaching. But just getting that time alone. I teach 28 fifth graders. I have 5 kids at home. I don't have a lot of alone time, a lot of me time.
Yeah.
So that exercise time, like, I don't feel right if I don't get it. So taking time to take care of myself so that I can take care of other people.
So I am trying to get out and work out before the crack of dawn, literally. Are you more of a morning guy? Now, you mentioned going out at lunches. That can't be your normal.
I do it about once a week during the school year.
Wow.
Not in the
Okay.
winter, it's very cold, but about once a week. Yeah. So the morning, I used to be a morning guy. I don't know, around kid 3, I just ran out of gas in the morning.
Yeah.
So now I'm mostly like after school. My daughters do competitive gymnastics, so they have 4-hour practices 4 or 5 days a week. So when I have gymnastics duty, it's really easy to get a workout in and get all my school stuff done up in Lansing, which is about 45 minutes from home. So that gives me a lot of time to get caught up on school, but also get a big workout in.
That makes sense. That's alignment, right? Let's talk rapid fire recommendations, Colby. You're a big figure on Twitter. Tell us about someone there that we should be following that maybe we don't know about, or yeah, who would you point us to?
My principal, Susan K. Haney. I call her Miss Haney or Sue Haney, but her Twitter handle is at Susan K. Haney, and she's phenomenal. She is a great leader. She has probably over 1,000 books in her office. Like, kids are in her office every single day. Like, kids actually want to go to the principal's office. I probably sent today 5 to 7 kids, didn't send them, like, they asked, Mr. Sharp, can I go to Miss Haney's office? I need to return this book. Mr. Sharp, you don't have this book. Can I go see if Miss Haney has it? So
Wow.
she is able to create this amazing community where kids, want to go to their principal's office, which I think is just magical.
That is magical modeling, isn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, when that is what is coming from the top, and sounds like the kind of leader that probably isn't too comfortable with the top, but when that's what is being modeled by the principal, that is so powerful, I think, for all the learners in the community. And then point us to an ed tech tool that you currently love using in your classroom or your day-to-day work.
Yeah, nothing fancy, but we love audiobooks and we use Audible for that. So a lot of my kids, as fifth graders, want to be able to read some middle grade novels that they're not quite ready for. And Audible is a way to make that book accessible to them. So we have an Audible account, we have it on all our iPads, and we probably have 30 or 40 books that we've collected over the years. And if a kid wants to read one, like let's say they want to read The Wild Robot by Peter Brown, they'll get a copy of the book they'll grab an iPad and they'll start listening and following along as they read it. And I have found my students have grown so much through that. It gives them so much confidence. It lets them read books that maybe they weren't quite ready for. It helps them to develop that fluency as they listen to a professional reader read aloud. It's nothing fancy, right? Like it's not like Flipgrid or Schoology or whatever. Like is the new. With those are great tools, but it's just something that works. So if it's not broke, then don't fix it.
Oh, that's cool. I don't think I've heard of that exact practice, and that was going to be one of my questions. Do they listen while they're reading? And it sounds like they do. And so that's something I'll definitely keep in mind. And then recommend a book. Now, you're such a book guy. This will be interesting, but is there a book that you've been reading lately, or maybe one of your all-time faves that you would recommend for us?
Yeah, I'm really trying to increase my professional reading. I love blogs. I love Twitter. I love Facebook groups. I love all of these like micro content things. But I think that there's something really special, and I worry that it's becoming lost in our busy lives and with all of these other ways to get access to things quickly. Is reading a book that a amazing educator spent years of their life creating. So I've really, really been focusing this summer and now into the school year and making sure that I'm reading professionally every day, even if it's just a page. And the book that stood out to me this summer was 180 Days by Penny Kittle and Kelly Gallagher. And Penny and Kelly teach, Penny in on the East Coast in New Hampshire, Kelly in the inner city in, I believe, Anaheim, California. And they planned a year together. And just seeing them long term plan, seeing them say, we can't teach everything. We can't do all of these standards. What are we going to do? How are we going to pick them? And what are we going to let go? And what are we going to focus on? That was really powerful for me. Even though I teach much younger kids, I found so much value, especially in those first few chapters when they were just going through their process of planning. And it's really helped me to think about the big picture of my school year. I'm really good at like the day to day planning and like seeing what my kids need based on what's going on now. But that long term planning is something I'm trying to improve on. And that book, I think every teacher, any subject, would get a ton out of that book.
That sounds amazing. I can't wait to take a look at that one. And then if you're a podcast listener, Colby, and I hope you are, recommend a podcast that maybe you are listening to on those 45-minute drives to Lansing.
Yeah, I'm obsessed. I'm like, completely obsessed with podcasts. I probably listen to at least 4 hours a day
Wow.
of podcasts, like just nonstop. The education one that I'm really trying to listen to a lot lately is Cult of Pedagogy by Jennifer Gonzales.
Yeah.
She just introduces me to like I'm really like I kind of travel in this like children's literature English teacher world, and she introduces me to people outside of that world that help me. So I've really been liking that. My wife listens to that too, so it's fun to kind of talk to her about what she likes as a high school chemistry teacher and the ones that she finds valuable. So really, really, really enjoy that show.
What's just to push that a little bit further? I'm so curious. What outside of education is there a podcast that like this week, let's say you're checking first?
Well, it is the NFL season, so I'm really the one I was listening today was the Bill Simmons podcast, but I have my podcast open, so I listen to the Gary V, who's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I listen to it's called The Creative Exchange. It's by a YouTuber named Sarah Dietschy. I listen to the Dave Ramsey Show. I'm a pretty obsessed with financial planning and personal finance. I listen to a couple marriage podcasts to try to just get better at that. I really like Ear Hustle, which is a show put on by prison inmates and produced by prison inmates in, I believe it's a prison in California. I mean, but a lot of the famous ones, Radio Lab, This American Life, Planet Money. Yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Very, very cool. I can check a lot of those boxes, but a few are new to me. So love hearing that and just comparing notes.
What do I need to add to my list? Like, what am I missing?
Well, I mean, you mentioned Gary V. I'll give you one, and I find it's great for creatives, and that is the Fizzle Show. Have you heard of them?
No, Fizzle.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Check them out. I would say most episodes are wins. You might have the odd dud, but just really, really helpful in terms of, creatives out there who are trying to build something by way of, whether it's a small business or a podcast or a blog or anything sort of in that world. They are really fun.
I'm now subscribed.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Well, a couple more questions, and the next, both of these relate to video, actually, Colby. So is there a YouTube channel that you enjoy? And again, this might be in the education space, or maybe it's just personally amusing.
Oh, Casey Neistat's the best. He's just the best vlogger person. His creative style and just like how he has created this office to like house all of the things he needs to make things is like
Amazing.
every teacher's dream, as we have these tiny classrooms. I don't even have a desk in my classroom. And I just have piles everywhere, and he has this like the most beautiful space. So I love his stuff, and it's just cool and fun in terms of just like it's just fun to watch the cinematography that he uses. But I also learned just a lot about creating and just how hard you need to work to if you have big goals.
Casey is a master storyteller, right? And I know you appreciate that about him. It's funny, he came up in our car yesterday, and my wife was saying he sort of built his channel as a tech reviewer. And I said, I really don't think that was what built his channel. I mean, he reviews a lot of tech now, whether it's drones or phones or, whatever. But I think he just built it sort of on the model of the vlogging, right?
Yeah, when he went daily vlogging in 2016 is when he really exploded.
And then last question, Colby, you've got a lot going on between writing and teaching and the other things that you're doing. What is it that you're watching on Netflix when you've got no energy left for anything else productive?
I just watched that movie, All the Boys I've Loved Before, which is based on Jenny Han's books. It was awesome. It's like a high school romantic comedy. And I don't know, I feel like there's just high school romantic comedies are the best. Like everyone should watch more high school romantic comedies. Like we all have favorites from growing up, like, and they just continue to be awesome. It's not going to be, the stakes aren't quite as high as if you watch like a romantic comedy about adults. It's like your kids can walk in and it's not going to be an issue. So All the Boys I've Loved Before, based on the Jenny Han novels, is just pure magic.
Okay, well, that's a fun sounding recommendation. It's not Netflix, but my wife happens to be Asian. And so we're looking forward to seeing Crazy Rich Asians in theater sometime soon. And it sounds like maybe it fits into a similar sort of a category.
I've actually heard it's way better than I heard Rich Raising Asians is like a really important movie. I haven't seen it. But in terms of like the actual quality of the movie, I've heard some people say that maybe it falls a little short. But All the Boys I Loved Before is just awesome. It's just fun. Yeah. So pop some popcorn, cuddle up with the wife, watch that after you watch some Casey Neistat. You'll be all set.
Perfect. I love it, man. Colby, you are such an interesting guy, and you're a creative, and can't wait to just follow more of your content. Speaking of that, where are the best places for the listeners to follow you?
Twitter at Colby Sharp and Instagram at Colby Sharp are probably the two best, or you could just search my name, Colby Sharp, on YouTube, and I'm trying to do about 3 videos a week there now that school's back up.
Well, Colby, again, thank you so much for connecting and sharing your insights. And I can't wait to take a closer look at some of what you're doing and the book that's coming out soon. So stay in touch regarding that. And Colby, I just want to wish you an amazing school year.
Cool, man. Thank you. This was super fun. Let me send you a copy of the Creativity Project, and I can also send one to you to give away to a listener however you'd like. I have some extra copies. So if that's cool, just shoot me your address and I'll get those in the mail.
That would be the first ever giveaway for Teachers on Fire. How about that? So thank you.
That's how we do it.
That's how we
do it here in Michigan.
I love it. All right, man. Well, on that note, take care and bye-bye.
All right, man. See ya.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Teachers on Fire, where teachers come to share, learn, and be inspired. Please subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review on iTunes, and follow us on Twitter at Teachers on Fire. I'm your host, Tim Cavey, saying goodbye for now, and we'll catch you next time, right here on the Teachers on Fire podcast.